Welcome to Color Me Crazy, another episode with you guys. I'm your host, that guy, a multidisciplinary artist. And today we have such an amazing person. She is Christa Funk, the photographer behind Sea Funk Photo, a full-time surfer and water photographer based in Oahu, who turned her childhood passions for swimming and photography into an incredible career, capturing breathtaking ocean and surf dive, scenic photos and films. And she has worked and been featured in international competitions and photo awards. And yeah, I'm just like so excited to talk to her today. And welcome, Christa. How are you?
I'm good. I'm doing really well. I feel like I have a lot going on and a lot of different balls in the air, basically, and I'm trying to catch them. So it's working and it's going and it's happening. And so anything that's been like coming up and getting added, I'm like, okay, I can do this. I can do this. Just add a thing to the to-do list. So the to-do list is very full in a fulfilling way. Like, I'm very grateful to have the work and what's going on in my life right now.
That's awesome. And well, I bumped into your work. I was telling you I bumped into your work because of the film that you just did with Moana, with this
So
surfer.
it was a film with Red Bull, and then
Okay.
she was one of the interviewees in the film. And
Okay.
so she's amazing. I'm so excited for the waves that she's been able to catch at Pipeline, and just seeing her progression over the years has been really fantastic. And yeah, I'm just exciting to see like just the shift out there with like more women in the water, more women surfing the wave, and like really focusing on getting properly barreled. Like there were a
Yeah.
handful before, and now there's even more than like a handful that are really showing like that kind of progression. And that's awesome to see more numbers in the surfing world.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Because I feel like surfing is such a, like, most of the surfers are guys. And
Mhm.
I think there's nothing wrong with that. Like, but I feel like maybe it's like more of a guy sport, right? Like, very, I don't know. Like, but yeah, like implementing more like women surfers and like trying to get like as much girls out there, right?
Getting
Too.
women out there, but like getting like, for at least like competitive surfing, like progressing it and raising the skill level to more than just a few women, like having more women be even like more talented. Like it's just, it's pretty wild to see.
Yeah.
But even so, outside of the surfing space, it's just nice. It's fun to surf with other women. I still have plenty of sessions though where I'm the only woman in the lineup, and that's fine because I get along with guys, and yeah, just do the dance and hang out with everybody. So it is what it
Yeah.
is.
Yeah. And well, I was looking at your, a little bit about your bio and
Yeah.
about you. And you were a swimmer before.
Yes.
Were you a surfer before too? No.
I
Huh,
would say my
interesting.
surfing is very like, it's very clear that I started learning to surf in my 20s. There's a big difference from someone who learned when they were a little kid by someone who learns as an adult, just with like
Yeah.
even time spent in the water, like in the ocean doing the actual activity, which is fine. It's not my primary job. It's something I enjoy. And I body surf also, but like it's not something where I'm like, I have to be good at this. I have to look a certain way. Like there isn't that kind of pressure to it. So I generally
Mhm.
have a lot of fun with it.
Yeah. That's
But it was
that's so
swimming first, very much
yeah.
swimming first.
That's insane because I feel like once you're a swimmer, you're kind of like always a swimmer, like you get so into it. And it's so funny that this sport kind of like is not similar to surfing, but you're still like in the water and kind of the same like ritual, I would say. That's so funny. Yeah.
There's a feeling when you jump in the water. And I get the same feeling from like jumping in the pool, and I get like a lighter version of it, just even getting in the shower, like where the water
Yeah.
hits your head and like covers your, like, there's just my everything relaxes for me. And so
Yeah.
like I've had that happen in the pool. And so no matter how my day was, that feeling of jumping in the water was always like a deep breath for me. I'm just going,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
then going into water photography and getting into the ocean, that first like jump into the water has that same kind of feeling and
Mhm.
associations for me. So it's really like I found that my how much I was addicted to swimming, I just shifted it into the ocean and what I'm doing now. And so kind of just that want to always be in the water or be around it in some way is like has been prevalent throughout my life.
Yeah. And I would say, well, I was also like, I was an elite swimmer before. That's so funny that you are too. But I would say, like, after swimming, like, just like at a high level, and then I couldn't find another sport that I would feel like drained ass, after training.
Like
Yeah.
right, like pure exhaustion from like from a practice. But I don't get that
Yeah.
with surfing. Like I have to do ocean
Yeah.
swims to get that feeling. And I think
Yeah.
I was talking to my husband about this because he grew up on Maui. He's surfed his whole life, and he will get exhausted after surf sessions. And it seems like that kind of exhaustion that I would get after swim practices. And I asked him about that, and he was saying, um, because I'm at a different level of surfing,
Yeah.
that I may be expending less, like I'm expending less energy than he is because of like the level that he's at. And I was kind of going, like that actually tracks. It's just interesting to see that. But I will say there's nothing that's drained me like a swim workout. Like
Yeah.
nothing. It just, there's that. Oh my gosh. I'm just picturing myself right now. I realized I needed to vocalize what was going on in my head, but just coming home and just laying down and just going, oh,
Ugh. Yeah.
like,
It's
what did
so
I just
fun.
do to myself for 3 hours? Like,
Yeah. Yeah. That's so funny. Yeah. Cause I feel like not like there's not a lot of sports that you feel like that after. But yeah, that's so funny.
no,
That's so
I
funny.
there might be. I haven't done them, but I will say swimming is up there on the exhaustion scale.
Yeah, definitely.
I look at like
Definitely.
some of
It's
the
funny because
gymnastics
like,
and like even
yeah.
like whew, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And well, talking more about your work, how has been this journey of being a ocean photographer, and also like you're one of the only women out there in like Pipeline and all these amazing spots. I feel like uh I don't know, like also being a woman and being in these like very risky spots, and um I don't know, like even like wearing a helmet in the water and
Yeah.
like learning how to move, also like swimming and taking photos. I feel like it's such a physical, like, like you depend on swells and on waves and on people not crashing into you.
That helps. That helps. Yeah. It's a lot of factors that are out of your control that you're relying on to be able to
Yeah.
put together imagery and photos.
And tell us about how is it for you, or like any challenges that you have faced also like out there in the ocean, and like current wise, or like an accident, or also amazing things. Like, I mean, taking pictures in the ocean is such a different thing, like it's such a beautiful craft, it's so beautiful. Yeah.
I mean, I will say that it is keeping in line with the rest of like photography and art, and that's like finding the light and how the light is interacting in nature and your specific, like whatever setting you're in, you're still always looking for the light in some way, or like seeing how the dark and the light are playing and what they're doing. And so that aspect and composition, it all still, like, you take it with you when you leave the beach. Like that's still, those are all still like factors in what you're putting together when you're shooting. But I think as far as the ocean environment, it was very different to go from the pool, which is completely flat, to the ocean. And I
Yeah.
think a big part of like my learning about the ocean and everything was when I was able to, I was so obsessive about getting in the water and going surfing or body surfing. And then like I remembered seeing water photos growing up and thinking, "Oh, I want to take photos in the water, but I don't know how, or I don't know what that looks like." And but I know I want to do that. And so seeing guys with housings and like just seeing people, like I just saw guys at Pipe holding cameras. They had helmets, their cameras, and they were shooting in the water there. And I went, that's what I want to do. I want to do that. That looks amazing. I had no idea if it was men shooting or women shooting. And I just knew that like that was like my starter goal, was to be able to go out there and shoot. And so it was just like it was a buildup of like
Mhm.
getting used to the ocean when it's smaller, and going and shooting different spots and figuring out how to swim and handle current, and reading like what's happening in the water and what's going on in a lineup. And so it just was like starting out with smaller surf and working my way up to bigger surf and more advanced surf spots. Because it was smaller surf and more beginner surf spots. And then it was like, it was a build up. It
Yeah.
wasn't just the like, oh, I'm going to just go out to 8 to 10 foot pipeline. No problem. Like for my first swim with my housing. Like
Yeah. Yeah, yeah,
just
yeah.
because it's close to the beach does not mean it's safe.
Yeah.
Like, no. I'm laughing, but that's such a terrifying misconception to see people have that don't have any idea. They think, "Oh, okay, it's calm right now and it's close, like it's close to the shore, I'll be fine." And then suddenly they're in thumping shore break getting hurt because they didn't realize. So it's like it's one of those things where it is like it's like anything. You build up the skill. It's not this like instant, "Oh, I just went out there and oh, I'm here." Like
Yeah.
it wasn't
And
anything like that.
you're also swimming. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
you in these bigger waves, I mean, you're used to like yeah,
I
you're
was
used to having a board with you, you know? You just have
so
fins and
see,
maybe like a life vest or something.
well, I was used to swimming more so than I was having a board attached. I actually found that it was easier to deal, like I find, and still to this day, I find I'm so much more comfortable in big surf attached to with a camera and fins, rather
Mhm.
than having a board attached to me. The board just drags me around and I'm like, I don't want that. So
Yeah.
I honestly, I can do it and I can handle myself with a board attached, but I would say my skill, like I really just am more relaxed without the board. And
Wow.
whether that's body surfing or holding my camera, like that is just so much of an easier thing for me mentally, especially
Wow.
in big surf. So I think that's different. I think it varies if you give a surfer a camera, it's like you're doing two different things. So
Yeah.
but yeah, that's definitely a lot easier to go under waves without a board attached.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's the thing too, is like people, another scary misconception is people think like, "Oh, I have a board with me. I have a flotation device." And it's like, no, if you lose that board, that float's gone. Like you need to be able to swim. Like if you can't swim, you shouldn't be on a surfboard. Like that should be the last place that you're like
Yeah.
hanging out. You need to be learning how to swim before you get on that and attach it with a leash, because like those leashes break. Things happen. Like So you have to be able to swim at the end of the day before you get in to the water in any way, shape, or form. So
Yeah, definitely.
that's my
Definitely.
PSA. Learn to swim, okay?
Nice. And I was seeing that, I mean, you started as a photographer and then later you also served as a Coast Guard.
Yeah.
Um, so tell us more about that.
Okay, so I started photography when I was 13. I did it all through high school. We have 4-year military academies in the States. And so I went to the Coast Guard Academy. Um, and when you go to the military academies, you graduate with a university degree. So you're going to a military school, but you're also getting a degree at the same time.
Okay.
And it's a very different experience. It's not college, it's not university, it is a military school. So it's its own entity, if you will. I was always fascinated by the ocean and loved marine biology too. So I had just from talking to my mom and my parents, I kind of was like, really want to be a photographer, but I really love the ocean. Maybe I could do marine science. And my mom just said, get the hard science out of the way
Mm,
and do that first. So that's what I ended up doing is I did my marine biology degree at the Coast Guard Academy. And then I kept shooting when I could. I really didn't have a ton of time for it. I got to take a photography course my senior year there um, at the college across the street, which was amazing to go back into a creative headspace after years of not having that. And aside from that, like I just kept shooting and then you finish the 4 years and then you do 5 years active duty. You're required to as a payback for the schooling that they put you through. And so my 5 years, I was stationed on Oahu. I was on a boat for 2 years as a deck watch officer. It was 378 feet long, so it wasn't small. And then for the next 3 years after that, I was an emergency planner, and that was another job. Just it was based in Hawaii. So during that time, like I'd finish um, my work days and I'd get in the water, and it would be surfing, body surfing, and then when I started shooting, it became shooting. So it
okay.
just kind of like it was just a building of everything, of skills and like a tumbleweed of all of these things that I'd done throughout my life. And now
Yeah.
I get to be I wish I remembered more from my marine biology degree. I sadly feel like my brain is a colander. Okay, right? For a colander. If I don't use the information, those information pieces get small and they filter through. So like I didn't have like I used that information as much as I needed to for my job, but it wasn't like I was going like, "Oh, because of refraction and reflection for this point, this is why the waves look like this." Like wasn't necessarily thinking that way all the time. So like there's just so many details and even like fish ID that just went I'm just like, no,
Yeah.
I want that knowledge back now. I need it. It'd be really nice to have. Like I
Yeah.
just remember I could like if I saw some of the things that I'm actually seeing in the ocean now, when I had that knowledge, it could be like, this is this, this is this, this is this, this is so cool. We talked about X, Y, and Z that these animals are like that these fish are doing right now. Like, oh, the sea cucumber, this does this. Chirp, 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 chirp. So anyways, but I get to be in that environment and I get to shoot and I'm shoot surfing and I also shoot diving too and underwater imagery as well. So that's like it just ties all the things that I really love together. And
Yeah.
yeah, it's wild. I'm so grateful that's even possible. And I have an awesome partner who's been really supportive. Like my husband's amazing. And he really gets it. And gets why I love it so much. And that makes a difference too. I full disclosure, I dated a couple guys that were like, no, you just need to take pictures of me surfing. Like, you don't need to take pictures of other guys. And I was like, hey, I don't think this is gonna work with like what I want to do. And so I was like, okay,
Yeah.
this
Uh,
could be ending. This could it's gonna sharply decline here if this is your attitude on things.
Wow, that's insane.
I,
That's insane.
at
Yeah.
least they told me. I'd rather
Yeah.
have them tell me than find it out later and think they're awesome and then like, get married and have them be like, oh no, you don't need to shoot those other people. It's
Yeah.
all about me. What? It's
That's
like, no, I'm not checking him out if I'm shooting him. I'm just literally shooting him to try and get like an engaging photograph. Like, but
yeah.
I digress. So it goes. So the world turns. So my husband really gets it. And he's, oh my gosh, he's so good at reading the ocean. He's taught me a lot too, like that I wouldn't have learned otherwise. So I think like having him in my corner has been awesome for me. So I
Yeah.
really I genuinely appreciate him.
Yeah.
We have a lot
That's
of fun together too. So it's good.
yeah.
Yeah.
I was gonna ask, like, how do you manage? Because when there's a good swell, you
Yeah.
wanna go surfing, but there's
Nah.
also good photos.
So, um, typically when there's a good swell, if it's like, especially if it's bigger and the light's really nice, I want to be shooting. Even smaller days when the light is gorgeous, I will gravitate towards shooting.
Yeah.
There are some days though when I'm like, wow, the weather is amazing and I'm out and I'm either surfing or body surfing and I'm like, it's okay. I don't have a job I have to be doing right now. I'm taking a break. I'm not burning out. This is like this is going to be good for me to do because then I'll be fresh for my next job. So like
Yeah.
sometimes but I feel like I get sun guilt if I'm like, it's beautiful right now. Why am I not shooting? What am
Yeah.
I doing with my life? What is my purpose? Like, all these really big questions just because I chose to like get in the water without a camera. Like, I'll
Yeah,
just like
definitely.
go like that through my brain. But
Or the sunset would be amazing while surfing, and
oh my
then you'll
gosh,
be like,
yes.
"Oh,
And you're
shoot."
sitting there and you're like,
Yeah. Shoot.
this with it and this with it.
Yeah.
But sometimes when you're out shooting, I had the other day where I took a 50 millimeter out and the sky, there was a huge like corona around the sun. So like a rainbow circle around the sun. And it was all like the kind of like funky lighting. And it was so beautiful. And I brought a 50 millimeter and I was like, I can't zoom out and have it be like 24 millimeters or like 15 to 35 and get this whole amazing sky scene. And I was like, hmm. So like that feeling happened even though I was shooting and I wasn't trying to do something else. And so it's just
Yeah.
like, it's kind of that push pull, but like it keeps me coming back and it keeps me hungry to want to like shoot and share and, keep doing what I'm doing.
Yeah. And well, talking about your process, could you walk us through your creative process? Like, I know you mentioned before while we were chatting that you
Yeah.
work with some companies and you are sponsored with some companies and stuff, but your personal work also, like, how do you I don't know, like, what's your passion, like
Oh yeah.
what does Krista wants to shoot, you know?
I tough because I really genuinely like, okay, here we go. I can answer this without giving you a non-answer. Okay. So top like tier love shooting. I love shooting physically in the water. And I like shooting with subjects. I like shooting with animal life, surfing, diving, swimming, like paddling canoe, like water-based activities. I love shooting them in the water. And then my secondary thing, I also enjoy shooting on land. I like shooting lifestyle photos. I like shooting different settings on land, but I think the biggest part that I enjoy, because I will use a tripod and shoot from land if I have to, but I don't like setting my camera up on a tripod and being in like married to a spot.
Oh,
and
yeah.
not I love the part of shooting, even though it can be so frustrating and, like, you can go through some sessions and not even get a photo that you're like, anything's worth keeping. I love being in the action and having to evaluate what I'm doing constantly and where I'm at and my positioning and that kind of a thing. I love that challenging aspect of it, but, like, I won't discount shooting from land and getting as much satisfaction from a photo that I've shot from land as one that I've shot from the water. So, yeah, that's where I'm
Yeah,
at.
makes sense. Yeah,
But
totally.
and I really like sports and documentary styles of photos where you have to kinda, like, be thinking on the go and composing, like, with what is available. Um, I would say my least favorite would be, like, studio style shots where it's just, like, put on clothes, stand in clothes, make sure
Yeah.
you have, like, the right kinda lighting so you can see all the colors properly. It's not my favorite, and I try to look at photos that have those because I feel like I'm like, "Oh, okay, I could work on this, this, and this with that," and it's not my favorite, so I'm not like, "Yeah, outdoor studio shots." But, I have to be able to do them for the jobs that I do. So, they're necessary and, they'll pay the bills too, which is like and they usually come in with, like, I'll shoot in the water, and then we'll do ODS of, like, a suit, so you can see it and get a feel for it, so at the end
Okay.
of the day, like, too, like, for those types of shoots, you're selling product. So if it's not, like, a personal shoot for me or something that I'm like, "Oh, I'm doing this creatively and, like, on my own," like, I can do whatever I want with the light, like, there's certain looks, but I don't know. It's all, like, ways and means to, like, stay shooting in the water and
Yeah.
doing what I enjoy. So, I mean, yeah, it's not my favorite, but I'm not gonna be like, "Ugh, I have to shoot ODS today." It's not happening. I'm not
Yeah.
complaining. So, like, there's
Yeah,
that. And that
yeah.
exact facial expression to a client, it's not
Yeah.
happening. Yeah. Like, "Yeah, you want me to shoot in the water, and then you need me to shoot this on the side? Okay, great. Let's go. Let's do it." So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, totally. And what is the inspiration behind, you know, like, the ocean photography? Like, what really it's the drive. You were talking about the light and
Yeah.
the different places that you can move but yeah, like, what is the inspiration? Do you focus mostly in, like, the beauty of the wave itself? Because, like, I mean, these tubes, like, they're just fucking insane. Like, they're just
Oh, it's so wild. Like,
it's
even
crazy. Yeah. Like, how
and
nature can make these perfect tubes and massive, and
and
it's
gallons
just
upon gallons of water and energy. You're literally watching energy move through the water and hit different depths of the ocean floor. It's just like
yeah.
so many pieces and parts to it. And then like even like how a wave looks underwater when it breaks. Like small waves do certain things, bigger waves do other things. Like and they all are just interesting in their own ways. And it's just
Yeah.
I could talk for a very long time about that. Yeah.
But what is the inspiration? Is it the
I would
waves mostly? Or
I would
your
say
mo
it's a mix of things. I would say it's seeing what's happening in the environment. Like sometimes I go into things with like images that I have ideas for kind of in
Mhm.
my head and I see if they like happen in a way. Like if they happen and if I can get like what I'm seeing in my head from that exact moment to translate into the photo that I'm editing. Like and I
Mm,
feel like too I love looking at paintings and old photographs and all kinds of photography because I inspiration can get pulled from so many different spaces. And
yeah.
yeah, I really love it. Trying to I guess I would say inspiration is coming from nature and from all other sorts of art and creative activities and ventures. Because I've seen murals before, for example, and gone, wow, okay. what if I could do this with this and this with this in something in like a photo that I'm shooting in the water. Um,
Yeah.
and I didn't, oh my gosh, I had a picture that I took the other day and I was telling a friend about it. And um, she was actually a teacher of mine in school and she taught humanities was one of the classes. So we learned about art and paintings and that kind of thing. And I was looking at this picture and I was like, oh, I don't want to sound like a tool bag right now, but it genuinely had like the color palette from Picasso's blue period. Like that's all I could think of when I saw this photo was like the colors in it. And it was like 50 millimeter, had a lot of like bokeh. It was blurry. And then there's like one part of it in focus. And I was going, oh, the kind of like the bluish pinks in the back and the way the kind of like really muted yellow in there, like just and the blues too, like how they were. I was like, oh, this reminds me of this. And I'm like, can I actually say that to people without sounding like, oh, well, this photograph when I took it reminded me of Picasso's blue period. Oh,
Yeah.
like, not what I want to sound like, but that's genuinely what I thought of. There's
That's
that
interesting, yeah.
happens. So, like, so the inspiration, the pulling from different pieces and parts that I've learned about and all the colors I've seen throughout my life. And my life was very colorful too. Like, my parents always had some kind of like, we always had music and art in our lives. And
Hmm.
so, like, in some form or fashion, someone was always doing something creatively, like on the side. And my mom, she quilts, and I remember when she started and where she is now with like the level and skill, but just always seeing the colors of the fabric and the different types of fabric and like seeing how she puts them together and looking at that, like just I feel like there's so many inspiration layers throughout my life too that have shaped how I see what I shoot.
Yeah, of course. That's crazy. Yeah, I feel like I don't know. I mean, you're kind of like an artist, you know? Photographers are also kind of like artists, you know?
Yeah,
And like you can just
totally have
create so much.
sorry. I had a hair in my mouth.
No worries.
Yeah, you were saying you can create so much?
Yeah, like I feel like and you would maybe go to the same search spot or the same place, but maybe get creative on like, oh, shooting from the floor, shooting from the ceiling, it's shooting da da da. And I mean,
Yeah,
in the ocean, I mean, every day the waves are totally different, you know, like swells change and the seasons and everything. And it's just, yeah, it's so interesting. And I was gonna ask, you know, talking of like ocean photography, how do you keep yourself like physically strong? Um, do you still like do swimming or like gym?
swimming or gym? Yeah, so I I swim, I body surf, run. I started training jujitsu probably like this summer. That's been really
Okay.
fun to add into my life. I have that twice a week and we have an awesome group. So like um started doing that. So it's all like I'm a very physical person. I also lift weights. That really I genuinely cannot emphasize enough how much that helps when I personally feel that it helps when I'm getting just pounded and tossed around by waves. I feel like
Well,
'cause women too have a different muscular structure than men, and so we have like it's just one of those things where I feel like it's really important to have like developed like back muscles, neck muscles, like just everything like really like you want to just be fit so when something does happen, you don't just snap like a twig. Like you have muscles protecting like the valuable stuff.
yeah.
It's not just like, oh, okay, well, one wave broke on me and now I'm done for the season. Like, and
Yeah.
I have friends that are very petite and tiny, and I'm like, oh, I don't know if you would want to be swimming in what I'm swimming in. And they might be fine. They might be totally fine, but it's like, there's like, I do. I have one friend that's really small, and she's like, I don't go out in bigger surf because I know it'll hurt if like yeah. So it's one of those things where I really focus on that too. I'm really glad I have a swimming background because I already went into it with like having shoulders, having like very like developed like swimming
Yeah.
muscles, which is what I'm
Yeah.
doing. Yeah. It's yeah, so it's definitely I try to stay in good shape for it. And you'll see some guys that go out there with their water cameras and they have beer guts and they look totally out of shape and they take amazing photographs. So like
Yeah.
or they're just like they just all they do is shoot photos and that's their thing and that's it and they're totally fine. So like
Yeah.
this is what works for me. This is what makes me like puts me in a good headspace with what I get into and yeah, take it or leave
Yeah.
it. I guess.
What and what's the biggest, like, swell you have ever,
That was fun. That was
like,
in
for shooting?
2016 for
Yeah.
shooting. So I'd say the biggest swell on Oahu was I think it was 2023 Eddie. Not the last one that they had, but the previous one. And I just say that one, I think the previous one that they had more rideable waves, and fewer closeouts, and it was still big, but the one before that had more closeouts and
Mm,
fewer rideable waves, but it was just the
massive.
amount of closeouts that we had to deal with throughout that day was just wild. That's on Oahu, and then, say, going over to Maui, I shot gosh, this was in 2016. This was a while ago, but they had a run of a few weeks where it was very like perfect wind and swell direction for jaws. And I shot um one of those I shot in January 2016. Aaron Gold got his record breaking paddle wave. I think it
No
was
way.
easily like 30 feet Hawaiian and glassy. Like it was huge and it was just like it, just I felt like my brain like couldn't was like can't compute like what's happening. We went to the store at the end of the day and it was late at night and I was like, nobody has any idea. All of the waves were bigger than the building that they don't even know.
That's
My brain was
insane.
just so like ah! And it was just like adrenaline and all of the emotions and things that go with it. And it was like, yeah, it was wild. So those were two of my biggest, I'd say probably those were two of my biggest sessions. Um,
Yeah.
and I
Whoa.
really I enjoyed them and I got amazing photographs from them and yeah, they were really fun to be a part of. But I will say, one of the aspects I like about Pipeline and even Waimea too is like they're both places that you can swim out to and shoot. Like it's all like you can do it like without a ski. Um,
Okay.
and like you don't I don't like and I've gotten like on bigger days at Waimea, I had like there was a COVID swell where they couldn't run the eddy and I swam out and made it out. But like the past two eddies, no, not the past two. The previous eddy that I was telling you guys, like that I was talking about, got a ski ride out from water patrol guys, which
Uh-huh.
was amazing. But it was like the way I was looking at it too that day and the group that swam out and shot, we were all like, okay, we weren't expecting a ski ride. We didn't go down there and expect to get taken out. We were like, okay, this is how we have to time it. When we do swim out, okay, we're gonna like this is what we're gonna do. And then they came up and were like, hey, we'll give you rides. And we are like, not gonna turn it down. But it was all with the mindset that we could make it out there on our own gas if we had to. And then we
Okay.
could also get in on our own if we had to as well. And so that's something that I really love about like just being able to do it on your own. You don't need a boat, you don't need a ski, you don't literally you need your fins, helmet, and your camera, and off you go. and it's an onus is on you. So like that's something I really do enjoy about shooting like big surf at Pipe and Waimea. It's just like
Yeah.
that accessibility factor and not having to like, yeah, it's on you. It's not on someone else and like, yeah, a machine or anything. So all
Yeah.
natural.
Yeah.
There
Yeah,
we go.
definitely.
But yeah, but those are also very unique spots too. Like that's the other thing. They're all these spots up here too, like and just waves in general. There are all these like Christmas miracles. You're like, how did this form here in this way with like the reef is shaped like this, the waves come in like this, the prevailing winds are this. Like it's like we were talking about when you were asking about inspiration, and I was like, I could tell you all about how much I love watching waves of every size from the front,
Yeah,
from the back, from this angle, from that angle. Like,
it's insane. Would you say, like I feel like there's a lot of I mean, you grew up in Colorado, you were saying. Would you say, like, when you were younger, like, that you thought you were born in the wrong city? Or
no, I think
no.
I was born in exactly the right place. We moved to when I was in 1997, we moved to Lewis, Delaware. It's a little beach town in Delaware, and we lived about a mile from the water. And that's where I
Okay.
learned and started swim team. Like that's where I learned how to swim. That's where I started swim team. That's where I got exposed to the ocean and I loved it. I loved swimming in the waves and having the waves crash over me and like I just thought all of it was amazing. And we were in like areas where the surf was really small the majority of the time or flat. And so and I just was like enamored with the water. And then when we got back to Colorado, like we went out there to be with family. And then after about, I think it was like 4 or 5 years, we moved back to Colorado. And it was one of those things where I was like, oh, well, how do I get back to the ocean? But I just knew I was like, well, I can keep swimming. That's how I can keep getting in the water and keep that connection. And
Mhm.
so I stuck with swim team and yeah, and then that's where I was really like too. I had always looked at National Geographic and then we moved to an ocean and then like I just all of that kind of fascination was stayed with me and then yeah, I ended up where I did. But I think I was born exactly in the right spot. I would not change where I'm from ever.
Yeah.
I It's absolutely beautiful. Like Colorado, America has so many beautiful areas like outside, and I'm sure like Mexico has the same. Like, oh my gosh, Mexico's gorgeous. Like, but there's just so much to it that like, and so many things. We were outside all the time too, hiking, camping, fishing,
Mhm.
snowshoeing, all the Colorado activities. Like, my parents love being outside, so it was really cool to have that growing up and have that different side of things too.
Yeah, totally. I was talking to a friend this weekend, and he's in New York, and he was, like, traveling and working and whatever, and I was like, "Why did you go back to New York?" You know? You're kind of in the rat race, and I get it. Cities are in amazing, don't get me wrong, I love
No,
cities, but nature, Like, I was like, "What nature do you have?" You know? Like, and he was I don't know, like, it was interesting because sometimes we move to cities to chase a dream or something, but are we really, like, connecting with nature? Like, really? You know?
I mean, I
And
think there's ways to. I definitely
yeah,
think there's ways.
but I feel like sometimes when we live in the city, we just disconnect so much from nature, you know? You're in the rat race kinda circle or whatever, and I feel like surfing and, like, this, like, lifestyle of, like, doing a sport outside or, like, at least, like, I don't know, biking or running outside or whatever, like, it's just I don't know, like, it gives, like, a boost, right? Like, to the human being in general, but I feel like sometimes cities could, like, really make you forget to connect with nature. I feel like that's what I'm trying to say.
I think
Like
too, you can get in like, especially if you're like, if you really love your job or you're in a job that's like, you have
Mhm.
to be at work like the majority of the day and you're really focused on that and you're like trying to make it in some way with whatever you're pursuing. I think that can get you into a working state where you're just like, that's your primary focus and that's what you're doing. And like, you don't realize sometimes when you're in that state how fast time moves and how like
Yeah.
much of your years go by. And I really think that works for people to a certain extent. And some people really love that kind of like exhaustive rhythm. Like there's something I don't know, personally, I've done, like, productions, and there's something too about, like, kinda that running around all day and solving problems and figuring things out and, like, that thinking on your feet that
Yeah.
can be really appealing to people, and I think if you're in that space in a city and, you know, like, that's what happens, like, I don't know if that's necessarily a bad thing, but I do think it is. There's something too that, like, to say for humans need to be outside, like, and
Mm.
need some form of, like need some sunlight, like, moving, hearing things, listening to, like, birds and trees and, like, that connection, like, I feel like those connection points are important, but I can easily see how it is to, like, get in a rhythm with things and not make time for that because 'cause you're trying to, like, reach a goal, and that kinda obsessive mentality too. That can
Yeah.
come with it, but, I don't know, I'd say, like, I have friends that are like, "Oh, I wanna work for company X, shooting for them." They're based out of New York, so I have to move to New York, but then that company sends them all around the world. So, like, it's
Yeah.
kind of one of those things where it's like, maybe they have to base out of a city, but then they go around the world, just, like, depending on what they're doing, and
Yeah.
yeah, but it all depends on the job and, like, what they know, and 2, it could be, like, where all their family is, like, there's so many factors that go into, like, where people decide to end up in their lives that, like, yeah, just depends on what you want out of life, and if you, like, you have the freedom to ask yourself that question, because it is really a gift to be able to be like, "I'd rather live in this area than this area," like, being able to just even choose that is, like, it's insane.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. And I was gonna ask, your work has won like awards globally. How does that recognition affect your creativity and also the way that you work? I mean, you have been a photographer for so long. How many years? Like
Started when I was 13 and hold on, I was born in I'm 35 now. Right. I was like, "Am I 36?" I was like, "No, no, no, that's in April. Don't don't wish away time. Enjoy where you're at right now." I'm excited to be 36 though, see what happens the next year, but, no, so started when I was 13, 35 now, I think the awards, I I like applying for awards and submitting, there was an award I just got for a photograph, and I'm not like, "It was an award I just got." It's not like that. It's I got into a rhythm in my workflow where I just started applying for awards, and, like, the worst they could do was say no to me, and I was writing up, like, like, so the worst they could do is just say no. So I was just applying for different awards because I wanted simply to just have my name get out there in other
Mhm.
spaces, so it wasn't simply in the surf space and build my credibility. Like, I see, like, those are ways to build credibility and, like, kinda stand out when there's so many brilliant photographers out there that shoot all manners of subjects, and so it's, like, trying to, like, kinda carve out a space for, like, my name in the photography world by entering those awards and seeing if I can win, and if I don't win, that is okay, and when I do, it's very flattering, but at the same time, it's like, "Okay, that adds credibility to what I'm doing, to the prices that I'm asking for, and to, like, everything," but I really try to not go like, "Oh, I'm shooting this in a way that it'll win an award," like, that's not something that, like, enters my headspace or plays around with my creativity, I guess, or, like, has, like there's not like, "Oh, I'm going out to shoot photos that I can enter in a contest today," like, That's
Yeah.
not there. It's, like, something that I've taken that I'm like, "Oh, okay, I think this would fit with contest X." And I got out of that flow when I got busier with other projects, and I just was like, "Okay, I need to enter at least, like, 1 or 2 and see where I land, and then, like, just keep that kinda going." And,
Yeah.
so it's good. It's all opportunities and, like, ways to get your name out there. I equate it to, like, having an art gallery, and even doing film projects and talking, like, for those projects that you were talking about early like, beforehand, just like, "Hey, meet Krista. This is what she does," like, style. I don't love being in front of the camera, but I'm not going to be like, "Oh, no, I don't wanna be in front of the camera," and lose that opportunity because it's a way to share my work, and I love sharing my work with people. Like,
Yeah.
regardless of their opinion of it, I love just, like, having it be like, connecting point with so many different people. And if it brings someone some kind of, like, break or peace or they get light out of it, it's like, "Oh, okay." Or if it inspires them in some way to go outside and, like, go for a hike or do something, it's like, "Oh, that's a win," you know?
Yeah. And, like, yeah, talking about, like, how, like, sharing your pieces a little bit outside of the surfing, world, how do you, like what do you want, like, people to feel or yeah, like, to see in your pictures or, like, uh yeah, I don't
Yeah.
know how to explain this question.
No, I hope like, when I edit, there's sometimes when I'm editing and I'm like, "Okay, when I'm looking at a specific picture, I want them to see, like, how the light here draws your eye to here, which draws your eye to
Mhm.
here." Like, kind of try and, like, map out where I want, like, their gaze to go, and
Yeah.
it can be really subtle OCD things, and I'm like, I might be the only one that's noticing this, but then when you get comments like, "There's just something about this photo, I don't know what it is." But, that's kinda like if I was doing something like that, it's not every photo that I do that with, but it's some of them. And, like, if it's one of those photos, I'm like, "Oh, aha, aha, I think
Yeah,
I know." But, like,
gotcha.
I think I have an idea here of, like, why you're thinking that, but I hope that people get out of them, like, what they need from them. Like, the
Mm,
ocean, I've been through a lot and, um, come out on the other side, and it's one of those things where, like, the water and the ocean was always that break for me. Even if it was just as simple as getting in the water and getting my head wet, it was like, uh, from everything that was going on, and then shooting, you have to be focused on what's happening in front of you when you're
mm,
shooting, so it's one of those things where it just felt like it always just gave my brain, like, a break, and then I could go back on land and just put one foot in front of the other. Like, I got, like, kind of a rest from everything, and then I could
mhm.
kinda, like, break down what was going on better than if I hadn't gone out and gotten in the water. So, that's what I would take from a lot of shooting, and if people, like I don't know if my photos do that for people, and if they do in some way, even if it's for, like, 2 seconds, that's, like, 2 seconds that I had them, and maybe I helped them. It's kinda like yeah, hopefully that's what comes across, and I can't control people's thoughts. They could go like, "Huh, next." And that's their prerogative because that's the amazing thing about humans is we all have these different opinions based on, like, where our lives have led us. So,
Yeah, of
it's
course.
all very, like yeah, it's very interesting.
Yeah. And tell us I wanna know, like, if there was in a specific shoot or
Mhm.
a specific moment, um, that surprised you or changed you to think about photography in a different way.
Oh,
Ocean photography, I would say.
okay, okay. I remember shooting, at Pipe for the first time. I
Mm,
had a mentor that took me out for my, like, first swim shooting at a small surf break, where it was barreling. And then he was like, when you're ready to go to pipe, I'll take you out on a small day and show you like entry, exit, like what to do with it. And so, long story short, he took me out for that first swim. And that was like the swim. And it was like, if you like it, keep going. And if you don't, like, so that was a good learning point to start from. But the rest was like, all right, go get them. Like, I'm not
Yeah.
gonna tell you when to go and force you into anything. Like, you can do this. So that swim though was, I just remember it was like maybe 3 foot range, maybe 4 foot. So like 6 foot faces, 8 foot faces tops, which is small for pipeline. But it was a
Yeah.
good direction. It was barreling. And I just remember going like, I thought all the waves were like ginormous. I had full body chills and I was like, oh, this is going to change things. I want to do this. Like I want this. And that
Yeah.
was really when I first like that feeling went like that was a weird motion. It like dug its claws in. Like it sunk into me. Like that feeling really got to me and I went, okay, what's the next step?
Yeah.
Like, so yeah,
Like
so
a calling. Yeah.
yeah, and it was just like, okay, I have a lot of learning to do and I want people to be looking at my work and going like I want to take high quality photos. That is the goal. That's what I want to be known for is the quality of my work. So I had to get the quality there. Like I had to get it up. I had to improve. And so it was just like it was just time spent shooting and time in the water and learning and watching other photographers and seeing what they did, interacting with everybody and getting to know people in that space too. So it was so many factors, but it's been really fun. I've gotten to know a lot of people, like a lot of different people from a lot of different backgrounds because of shooting. So yeah.
Yeah. That's awesome. That's awesome. Ah, this is such a good conversation.
Yay! Oh, good.
I feel like, oh god, like this conversation could last forever.
Oh yeah. I could just keep talking with you and then be like, what 20 things I needed to do. Oh well. No, not oh well. It's like, okay, where can I move this to? Where can this move to? Where can this go to? So
Yeah,
no,
totally.
it's been really
So,
fun.
unfortunately, we have to finish the episode, but
Yeah.
I have one last question.
Okay.
What advice you would give to an ocean photographer um to start doing this or to just like uh yeah, to just get more into ocean photography and like I mean, you came from like Colorado and then you ended up doing this in like such an amazing place in Hawaii and so many beautiful surf spots and meeting
Yeah.
amazing people. But yeah, what advice you would give like another creator or photographer?
So I would say, let's see, when I started, I was still in the Coast Guard. So it was very much like part time or like quarter time when I was starting and
Um,
beginning everything. So I had room to fail because I had the financial backing of my job. Like that was how I got my gear, like having that job. That was how I paid for my gear. That was how I got like all the supplies I needed. And that gave me a lot of freedom to, I had time to not be good at it. I had time to like not have my editing totally up to snuff where like, and I had time to learn and I took photography, like local photography courses that the college offered, like just like outside of classes, like they'd offer like 1 or 2 day classes. And so I take those. So it wasn't just like I was going into it um full tilt right out of the gates and being like, I got to pay my rent with this. Here's my first check for $15. I'm going to pay rent. Like that
yeah.
wasn't the case for me. And I think um for creators too, it's important to like don't be afraid of the part-time job. Like I almost started when I got out of the Coast Guard, I was applying genuinely to be a barista and then have that like as I built up my business. And I didn't have to do that. I wound up working for a mother-daughter wedding team and I edited their photos for them. Like they showed me how they edited and I'd help edit their photos. And so I got paid. That was my secondary job. But
Uh,
you didn't see me doing that. Like it wasn't like that you could see that that was like going on in the background and that's how I was paying my bills. So I could learn how to be a better water photographer, learn about shooting diving and that kind of a thing. So it's just like don't be afraid to have another job that's funding what you want to do and just like stay very focused and know that there's different routes and avenues for becoming a professional photographer. It's not so cut and dry with like have to be in a magazine, have to be on retainer by a magazine, only work for one brand, be on retainer with a brand. It's all very different now within like the media space and just figuring out like what works for you and like what's your best way of advertising. Maybe it's TikTok, maybe it's like Instagram, like what resonates with what you're trying to do. And like I would say to the last point, like give yourself time to start like build up your skill levels too. Don't try to rush like I need to go from being beginner to advanced yesterday. Like that is a mindset that's not going to be conducive to anything like healthy, or it's going to put you into really dangerous situations where you're going to get hurt and then you're not going to be able to like do what you want to do or get to the level that you want to get to. Um
yeah.
yeah. So I think that would be my advice and just enjoy it. Enjoy the ride and like yeah, just be very open to shooting things too outside of like what you mainly want to shoot. Like shoot if you have to shoot family shoots on the side to earn extra money, that's great. Do that. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. And also, don't be afraid to apply for things and have people say no. That is my last part. The worst thing that you can do is pitch something and have someone say no. Like, that's the worst that can happen. They don't like your idea. So you move on and you keep pitching your idea. I had a story for a magazine that I really wanted to get published, had the story, had the photos, everything ready to go. It took 2 years to find someone to put it in a magazine, but when it did come out, it came out great, but I kept going, and it wasn't like this huge payout, but it was like, "Oh, it's really cool to see that idea get printed and put into, like, something real and feasible, and, like, someone's going to read that," and that was a really cool feeling, but it was just, "No, no, 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 no. Yes, we'll take it." So, like,
Yeah.
yeah, don't be afraid of that no.
Wow. Wow, I had so many goosebumps. I
Yay!
feel like I feel like sometimes we meet people or we hear conversations or
Yeah,
podcasts or whatever, or we even like read a book and subconsciously like there's a lot of like questions answered and wow, like I'm gonna tear up. Like this advice is like it's insane. Like
good.
thank you.
Oh, you're so welcome. Like, wow, that's insane. I'm very glad that advice and just our talks at home, and that's really, like
Yeah,
that's wild. That's, like, just yeah. Oh, I'm
it's
glad
insane.
Yay!
Um, yeah, thank you so much.
It is a weird thing to say when someone's crying. I genuinely was like, I don't know what to say, but I'm like, I really truly am glad, like, something struck a chord. And
Yeah,
that's with putting photos out there. You're just looking for that, like, chord strike with someone, and even if it's one person, awesome. That's
yeah,
fantastic.
yeah. Wow, this is the first time I tear up in a in the podcast. Crazy. That's so crazy. Yeah, thank you so much. I mean, and like for sharing your experience and, having the time to sit down and talk. And, the whole point of the podcast is to be able to just share your creative process and like yeah, just like connect also with your audience out there. And I feel like, I mean, you touched my heart so deeply. I even teared up. And I bet the people that are listening right now have been inspired by your work also. And I bet I'm like 100% sure when they see your work, they're gonna connect like way more. And I don't know, I truly believe in like long conversations, you know?
Yes.
Um, but yeah, definitely. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks for letting me share my story with you, and, yeah, I hope anybody that hears it, I hope they enjoy it, and it was really fun to connect with you.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And for the people that are watching this or listening, if you like this episode, make sure to like share it with a friend. And yeah, we'll leave in the description Christa
Yeah,
information and so you can follow her. Her work is insane and yes, that's amazing. I forgot to ask
yeah, go
I
for it.
forgot to ask, what is your dream spot to shoot?
Pipeline.
Yeah?
I'm
Okay.
I'm I'm so addicted to it. It
Okay, yeah.
and it is so much more fickle than you realize to have it be big and good and have the sand has to be in the right spot, wind,
Yeah.
smell, all these factors have to be there for it to actually, like, barrel and do all of the things perfect.
Yeah, the magic. Yeah.
Magic, like, actually having a really, like, a 10 out of 10 day there is there's some seasons where you have more, and there's just some seasons where you have less, so it's not as frequent as, like, maybe media leads you to believe. So when it
Yeah.
does get really incredible, it's just oh, I feel like I just drop everything, and I'm like, "Life gone, like,
Yeah, of course,
later."
definitely.
Like yeah.
Yeah, 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 of course.
So,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
so
it.
that is my absolute favorite place to shoot, and then as far as diving goes, oh, I have some favorite spots, but there's so much going on under the water that's insane that people don't even realize that it's just really like
Yeah. Mind-blowing.
oh, yeah,
Yeah.
every time. It's wild what is happening in the oceans.
Yeah. Yeah, that's beautiful. Oh, thank you so much, Krista.
You're
Uh,
welcome. Yeah.
yes, if you're ever in Mexico,
Yeah,
reach out, please.
yeah, I will. Oh my gosh. It's an amazing
Yeah.
country. I love getting to go to Mexico.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Well, thank you so much, and we'll talk soon.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Ciao, see ya.
Bye.